we're talking about from back in the or from last year involved the taxi limousine commission, the TLC, the rideshare companies, because it was supposed to originally just be rideshare. Why shouldn't they be TLC certified or under the same standards? I agreed with that. I knew it would go farther and get to delivery and all these other things. It did. But like when it was TLC, the government, and rideshare, that was the original parties supposed to be agreeing. When they actually showed up for a 2-day agreement, there was a fourth party involved, the Teamsters.
So to clarify, the thing in Seattle was this isn't new; it just became permanent.
Well, it's talking about how now it's going to apply to the gig economy. In 2012, it happened,
right?
To like to traditional gig workers and such.
Right. It's been in effect, but as of like last week or something, it became permanent.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're making this applicable to gig workers, I'm not a fan of this kind of stuff. I just see this as we're like, tiptoeing up on a union. I mean, call it what you will. I think all the states are. They're just, it's weird. Like I thought, I guess my thought for this year was going to be, it would have happened a little earlier, and it was kind of going to all be like Massachusetts might have been different, but the rest might have just kind of followed AB5 and really hurt. And now they're seeing the PRO Act might not happen. So they're all going in different directions on how to approach this. And it's like every state's is kind of completely different now, what they want. Like I saw a thing about Minnesota. Minnesota wants a union too, big time. But they also want to charge the Uber passenger and the Uber driver to redo the highways. Amazon drivers too. That they want that to go into money allocated for road care.
Because we're the problem of the road.
Because the taxi union.
The 1% of drivers.
In Minnesota, the taxi union pays into that. So why shouldn't all the gig economy? That was their argument.
We need less government, guys. I'm telling you.
I agree.
This is totally unrelated, but I don't know if you guys have been checking the news about the Restrict Act. I don't know if you guys have been checking that out, but it's been the whole thing about banning TikTok. And I think it's interesting. I think most people do believe that it should be banned, because it's connected to the CCP. But this act that they came up with basically gives them like Patriot Act type powers, where if they think that whatever platform is a threat to national security, they can just turn it off. Right. And everyone is like, wait a minute, wait. All right, we're cool with the banning the TikTok, but why we're giving the government so much power? And I just feel like a lot of these things it's all well intentioned. Like even when you're talking about, Uber driver may have to need to take a day off because something's happening with their family. I mean, it's weirdly specific, but I understand that argument. But the more power we give them, the more issues, and I do believe it. The unions are going to come in and they're gonna have their hands out. They want some of that money. It's just, yeah, it just is not. It's not a good look right now, overall, locally and nationally. It seems.
Look, it's not like all five of us are up here just bashing unions. We've had many episodes where we talk about there's time and place for unions. I think that, like I was saying, I don't think anybody's in the right. I think the governments are confused. I think I think the rideshare companies are fighting for, and the app companies are fighting for how they were never ever developed to be employee model systems. If it ever came to that, like if it would have happened right out of the gate with Uber, they would have just closed right back down. I mean, it wouldn't have ever got this far. So It's like you let it get this out of control without regulations. What'd you think? And then they were following the PRO Act several times. And now they're like, okay, well, we can still make a lot of state stuff happen, even if it's not the PRO Act. And now it's even just getting sloppier. It's like every state's going to have these weird rules. Like even we have one
that's
going.
Be weird. Yeah.
And then I had her on the Para Presents that we do every week. And I asked her, that was the second time I interviewed Stephanie Vigil, who's a Colorado House member here now. And we found a flaw in her system. I mean, in her legislation. I was like, well, what about this? Isn't this a loophole for them just to get out? And she's like, oh yeah, we'll have to look at that. I was like, dude, seriously? You have a senator you already have a senator sponsoring the bill. and you're a freshman in the house, and you had another house member, and all you two wrote it, and then got a senator to sponsor it, and none of you noticed. Wait a minute.
So I understand that she was a gig worker, but it kind of goes to show the lack of understanding when the government gets involved about what it is that we actually want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
and
a lot of
she
times they
she
speculate. They think they know, but are they really talking to gig drivers, knowing what we do on a daily basis to make bills that actually are that middle ground between gig workers and these companies?
I doubt it.
well, she, like Zach said, she was a gig worker for one. So, or she might even still be. I don't know what she's making as a house member, but
But that's one of how many government officials that or legislatures that are trying to pass these bills, and they're trying to get things passed. Like, that's just one. You can't tell me that every single person who's trying to make all these bills and everything else that's going on knows what a gig worker does, how much they make, what the true accounts are, what we do on a daily basis, how many miles we drive. Like, no one knows that except someone who actually does it. They're assuming they know just based off of probably what they read and the data they collect, but do they really know? No.
I think a lot of it is they grab people, because I noticed this anytime you guys watch a lot of the media news, right? You watch it doesn't matter if it's local or national, you'll find gig workers who are mad and they want more of something. They want more money. They want more security. They're upset. Something happened. They either got robbed or their bike got stolen or something. They got abused. And I don't know if the politicians are only listening to the people who are in some kind of trouble and they're not happy with this. Like, it's very odd, or it's very rare to see a gig worker who is out there struggling, but they're adapting. They actually enjoy this work. They enjoy being independent. You don't really see that a lot on the media. It's usually the companies need to do more. I'm upset, and that's the people that I think the media pay attention to the most.
Yeah, it's the classic case of the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah,
That's pretty-
exactly.